Let's get the question.
So the concern in which I have is almost as if you guys are talking about a number of different classes of employees. Because realistically, I've worked in corporate America. I'm in HR right now, but primarily dealing with training and such.
That's great.
But as it relates to that, the people that I've hired that have worked for me and so on and so forth are highly replaceable. Highly replaceable. They cannot negotiate. What you're talking about now when you reference $28 million investment into an athlete, that's because there's $1 billion owner that knows how much he's going to get. Those are singular individuals. There are so little of those individuals that they can negotiate in that fashion. I guess what I'm trying to understand is, are we talking to those who aspire to be at the top? And if that's the case, how many top slots are there? Like that we're telling everyone to chase this dream and to negotiate for these positions that are really, really highly specified, highly skilled, where they can actually call themselves out as being different than everybody else. Because if we're talking about the places in which I've worked in corporate America, where we have a bunch of people that are coming in for the same jobs, it doesn't matter. As a matter of fact, there are jobs in which I've seen where they've fired people and had to hire them back because they need people. So with that being the case, we're not talking about positions where people can actually negotiate. And I want to make the distinction, are we talking to people who have that sort of level of skill where they can demand that? And if we are, what's the percentage of people are we talking about? Or are we talking to most people that are going to get jobs where when you do come in as a Black person, or you do come in as a minority.
Like a bank teller, right?
Correct. And they look at you and they go, yeah, you have skills, you have talent, but guess what? There's either 50 other people that have applied for this position. So and even if I say yes to you and you say you want to negotiate for more, then I could just flip and go, well, no, we have like 49 other people that would take exactly what we pay them. It's a different class, and I think we're talking about them at the same time, and it doesn't seem that we would treat them the same, right?
But here's what I'll say. Let me say this. Here's what I'll say. I think it's skill set. Jay-Z said, I came to a fork in the road and I went straight. Some people say you missed that. I'm going to say it again for you.
I like it.
I came to a fork in the road and I went straight. I came to the fork in the road and let me help you. Go ahead. I'll finish.
No, well,
I promise you.
All I was going to say is him going straight, he was still following a path that somebody else had done before him. He just did it a little
No. If there's a fork in the road, you go straight. I created my own path. But I didn't follow a path somebody else created.
The path of which he created, or that he's claiming to have created, are paths of which have been created before him. That it's just a beautiful way of expressing the drive of which he has. His drive created a new road. The destination was still the same.
The drive created
ended up to the same place.
Watch this. Skill set. If you can't get to where you need to be at that level, you need to add skills to yourself. I have added skills to myself, and I have opened up opportunities. I was in a place where I had to take what was being given to me because that's all the skills that I had. And I couldn't negotiate too much because that's the skill set. So what I'm saying, and I hear you clearly, is I have found myself in a space of I have added more skills, because here's the question. I won't belabor the point. Here's the thing I say to people many times is, you can say, I'm not going to work unless you give me this amount. Is the market meeting you at that amount? And if the market is not willing to pay you that, then you can't demand that yet. But once you increase your skill set, you can demand that from the market, and the market is willing to pay you that. And I'm not telling you theory for myself. I'm telling you I worked for a company. CEO, I'll say their names, doggone it. And you weren't willing to pay me what I was worth, but I added more skills. And now I'm able to get paid more for my skill set because I've increased my skill set. And now the market is willing to pay me that.
So I see James here fuming. So my brother, I think you're absolutely right.
I think it's brilliant what you're asking.
Right. I think what you're saying is absolutely right. And which is what I was trying to allude to is there's levels to this. Fundamentally, I am 100% in alignment with Dr. Mel, which is know your worth, right? And I'm going to connect it to know my worth, know my value. This is where I agree with James. Know where that will be valued at a rate that I am comfortable with, and continue to reevaluate this. This is the game that we're playing. But I also want to be pragmatic to the middle. It's let's not kid ourselves, right? Jay-Z went straight. There ain't too many Jay-Z's. Not to say that you can't be that, right? But there ain't too many of them. So to that point, you have to know where you at, the organization you're with, what you're looking to do. Ultimately, I do believe, if you want full autonomy, you got to create your own. Until then, as long as someone else is paying the check, they can determine. And depending on the return, which is what you alluded to before, how much money can I make off of you? Because it's an investment, will up how much I'm willing to invest into this. And
let me just say one more thing, and then I'll land the plane.
You're
All
a
right.
pilot now too? Look at this.
I do that in my 5 to 9. All right. I hear you, Los, about the uploading your skills, right? And that's important. And I want you to hear what I'm about to say next. Uploading upgrading your skills, upgrading yourself is an important thing to do for a job, for money, for life, for relationships. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Okay. The only analogy I want to give though is about bottled water. You guys have heard this one before, right?
No.
A bottle of water, if you go buy a bottle of water, like you go to the gas station, same bottle of water, right? Same value at a gas station, you can buy a whole pack for like $5.99, 24 pack, right? Same bottle of water, you go to the airport, right? You buy it, it's like $7, right? Same exact water, same exact skill set. So yes, it's important for you to get your worth by upgrade your skills, having more alkaline in the water. You could have lemons and flavored, all that. But most of the time, it's about where you are. Also determines how, like if we're just bring it back to how much your quote unquote worth matters. So like there are some industries like technology that pays more than retail, right?
And more than education.
More than education. Okay. So yes, hear me. She's absolutely right. Improve and increase your skill set. Absolutely. And to your point, I totally agree with you. We always reference the edge cases. We always reference Jay-Z, who's a one in, there's 7 billion people on the planet and there's only one of him, right? Athletes, we talk about their contracts. LeBron, I think that we heard that too. He's still underpaid, right? So yes.
Say that again. He's what?
LeBron and Steph are still underpaid because the game is such that they are not the owners. So by definition, they will not.
He's doing it again.
Right? By definition, they will not be paid what they're worth because they're the ones putting their bodies out on the line while the owner sits in his box or whatever, taking all his money.
Go ahead.
Right?
Go ahead.
Who should get more money, LeBron or Jeannie Buss? I argue LeBron does. He never will. Okay? So that's all you're absolutely right. I will shut down for the next 5 minutes or so. The next thing comes up. But just always remember where you are also really determines what what you can get paid, right? You living in Buffalo and moving to California, for example, and I know I'm from Cali, so I'm biased to it, right?
What part?
I'm from the Bay Area.
Okay.
Yeah. So in the Bay Area, the same job, you'll get paid more for doing the exact same thing as a bank teller.
Absolutely.
Right? Minimum wage is different in different cities and different states, right? So yes, upgrade, but also know where you are also determines like how much you're going to be able to get paid to. That's it.
That's the politics. That's the politics. Go ahead, Dr. Mel.
Okay.
You see, I call you Dr. Mel, right?
Yes.
I'm gonna keep doing it.
I appreciate
That's my girl
that.
right there.
I appreciate that. And what I got my doctorates in is educational psychology and quantitative methods. So what that essentially means is that I am a statistician. So when I say that Black people tend to underestimate
Yes.
their worth,
Agreed.
I am not talking from what I believe. I am talking about statistically. And it also happens in education. Black students are the most likely, when they get the opportunity to estimate what math course that they should go into, they will select a remedial course because they, for whatever reason, do not feel as confident to take on a regular course. And that is a huge issue.
Yep.
And it's the same thing when it comes down to requesting a salary. So I think it is very important that you understand the range
Yep.
that you're in. So if you're in a range that's going to pay between $50,000 and $62,000, you need to know that. You need to know what the top is, and you need to know what the
Yep.
bottom is. So when it comes down to negotiation, there's also a skill that is involved
Yes.
in negotiation. Part of that is doing your homework. And the other piece, you know what my dad always says? He says, chew the meat and spit out the bones. So the part that doesn't apply to you, don't apply to you. So understand the range that you're looking for. And the other thing, it's not just, like I said in the beginning, we're not just negotiating salaries. We are negotiating a quality of life, quality of experience. So sometimes a salary, get an extra $5,000 might not be as important as being able to shift your work schedule from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. because you got to pick up or drop off. So there are other negotiating factors, but
Agreed.
be aware of the range and do not just accept anything, even if it is a job that doesn't have any room. What can I bring to you to show my value? And let me tell you, when you negotiate that way, when they understand that you've done your homework, when you appear that you are worth a lot, people will treat you differently.
I don't disagree with that. And I want to give a quick actual tip.
Now you cutting me off.
No.
You know what I'm saying? I just want to point it out so it ain't just me cutting you off. Okay,
But you
Coach
just
Ryan?
cut me off, cutting you off. All right?
Now you cut me off,
You know what I'm
cutting
saying?
you off.
I ain't gonna keep
cutting
you
me
around
off.
too much longer if you do this. No, but just a quick tip, actually, for those who get into a position where we talk about actual salary ranges. You can always go to salary.com, type in the zip code of wherever you're working and the position, and it will actually tell you the range and what they'll pay on based on experience. Because there will be the hope is that you get to a point where there is a range and you can petition for whatever part of that is and know the game to do that. But I just want to actually give people who are listening a way they can actually do it. Go ahead.
And you know, Coach Rod, I'm not saying this from just data. I'm saying this from experience.
Me too.
For so long, I was just so happy to have my foot in the door. I accepted what they gave me. And then a young Black woman pulled me aside and she said, you know that the woman who was working before you, this is when I had a master's, she only had a bachelor's degree. She ain't had no experience. She was a stay-at-home mom. And she was making $10,000 more than you. I said, what? Say what? So I went to I was offended. I was so offended because I let them decide what my value was and I just accepted it. So when you accept whatever anybody gives you, that's a problem. I went to them and I said, you know, I understand that the person who worked here made $10,000 more than me, and I actually have a master's. They have a bachelor's. Since I've been here, I've done A, B, C, and the third. Guess what? Not only did I get a $20,000 raise, I also got it retroactively. Okay?
Amen.
So I'm not telling you
been tough,
what I
man.
think. I'm telling
You
you
know
what
what I'm
I
saying?
know from experience.
She said she did A, B, C, and the third. Did you catch that? You working well. You do those things. I'll say this: beautiful conversation. How many people are having these conversations? How many people are sitting and having these conversations, being able to state their point and still come together at the end of it? I think one of the things I saw is there's a brutal reality in there's a level that they will replace you. You are replaceable. And this is what we're going to pay. And we'll move on to the next one. But I want to just overstate the mindset of people. I've seen too many people in that space, Mel, and that's why for me, jumping on that side of it, and James, I don't disagree with what you're saying at all. People have a mindset of they're not worth more. Or they'll have a limiting mindset that causes them not to go after more. And you can't tell me that I can't do it because I've done it. So people can't prove it to me that you can't change. I'm just a kid from the projects. Me and my brother say it all the time. We from around the way. We from downtown. We from the hood. My brother has 2 master's degrees. I got a bachelor's. My brother got a bachelor's. His son's in Morehouse. James.
I love it.
You know what I'm saying? My 3 children are in college, 2 of them in the military. Like, this don't just happen to people who came from where I came from unless you change your mindset, so you can't tell me that it can't happen. So I just don't like to allow anybody to stay in the mindset of I can't become more. And I heard people say, Jay-Z, there's only one. There's only one Carlos. There ain't never going to be another one.
Well,
and when I
technically,
leave
if you go
here,
to Mexico or someplace, there's a lot of Carlos.
No.
I know at least
Watch
one.
this. I was waiting for that. I was waiting for that. A black one.
Okay.
No, let me say this.
Go ahead, brother.
What I'm saying is they'll never be. I gotta say this lightly because I don't want to go over nobody's head. Somebody said before you, there was never a DNA makeup like yours. And after you, there'll never be another. Before you, there's never been that. And after you, there'll never be another. What I'm saying is nobody will ever step place on this earth and be me. And I'm going to rock out me like nobody else can rock out me. And nobody can tell me I can't accomplish things because where I came from, I'm not supposed to be where I am.
So, Carlos, I just want to push back a little bit. Everything that you said was beautiful. One thing that you said is that you are replaceable. I've heard that a few too many times today to not have to comment on that. I think that you need to be in a space, in a place where people do not believe that you're replaceable. And let me explain what I'm saying. I'm not just talking just to be talking. Once I understood what my worth was and I've contributed, it costs so much time, energy, effort, and money for them to go out and hire somebody who already know that, it's so much work that they have to do. They got to train this person. They don't know if they're going to be good enough. You are not replaceable as long as you make sure that you're not replaceable. The jobs that I have had, when I was ready to leave, they said, is there anything we can do to get you to stay? Other jobs that I've left, when I've left, they said, I don't know if we're going to be able to find something like you. Can I Derek, am I lying? Can I contract with you until, can I contract with you? Can I pay some money? Can I give you X amount of dollars until we find someone else? Because I don't know if we can you just stay on until my tenure is over? Because you might be replaceable, but I don't want to replace you. So when we get to the point where we are not replaceable, and I get it, if depending on what the job is, yes, you can get another person. But if you do that job and do that well, you can't replace the relationships. Because guess what? I had a program officer that I worked with at USDOE who gave me, he didn't want to work with nobody else. He only wanted to work with me. And so it was you know what I'm talking about, Dr. Grant? You have relationships where your leader, your boss noted all the relationships that their job runs smoother because of you. Right? Yeah. And do they want to replace you? No. Because somebody might be as smart, but they might not be as the same. Like you said, you might not be. So make sure you're not replaceable.
I think that's the key. Make sure you're not.
And just to ask Dr. Mel, what kind of position have you worked in, like corporate America, like the kind of place where there's 1,500 people in a building and about 1,000 of them are taking phone calls? Have you? And the only reason I say that is because I definitely agree with you. To me, the things that you have accomplished allow you to be able to make those like demands, and you have made it so that people find when you leave that they're having a hard time replacing you. And what I'm saying to you is, for all the years it is that I have worked in corporate America, I've watched so many people, I mean, at this point, tens of thousands of people leave the organization without anyone having any sort of issue replacing them or even remembering their names maybe a month or two later. So what I guess I'm trying to understand, because I have not had your exposure to working. My work experience is drastically different than yours. And although at this point in time, I imagine that there would be a number of people that I work with that would be sad to see me go, they would replace me without a thought. And it would be replaced maybe by somebody who's coming out of college that doesn't have any of the experiences of which I have, getting paid at probably 2/3 of what I'm getting paid right now, only because they can just ride that person out. To the point that you made earlier about, like working until 5:30 and that not being good enough. In corporate America, it's almost like, well, you don't know it, but if you want to stay, you better learn it and you better do it the way that we need for you to do it. And so I have colleagues that stay in the office and they work until 9 o'clock at night. And they're doing this because they're trying to keep up with the last person that did the job. But guess what? Regardless of that, if they don't do that, they'll just get somebody else that'll work until 10 o'clock to just do it. And so in many instances, the things which we're talking about sound as if how we are trying to acclimate to the environment which exists. But it sounds like all of us don't like the environment, but we don't talk about how we could potentially influence changing the environment. Rather, we're talking about acclimating to it and just using it as a means to get greater success. But the problem that I've always had is I think there's too many people concerned about success and not about fulfillment. And fulfillment is drastically different. And we're not asking the person to make a determination for themselves as to what makes them happy, but we're giving them advice on pursuing things. And I have had a number of colleagues, as well as people who worked on my team, who have had aspirations put into them by other people, where they're not looking to grow in that sense. They're happy with the job that they have. What they actually want to do is to spend time with their family and do those things and so on and so forth. But because people around them are constantly saying, you know, like, you gotta go this way. You gotta go this way. And so it's almost like success is the way that they can only represent themselves rather than actually fulfillment. So I say all these things to say, it just seems to me as if, like, we're telling everyone to be Jay-Z, or we're telling everyone they have the capacity to be Jay-Z, but we're not saying enough of, hey, you could just be Carlos, and Carlos may not want to build further skills, but Carlos may want to raise a family and just be, like, fulfilled amongst that. And so I know this conversation is about office politics. Sure. So bringing it somewhere else doesn't really make a lot of sense. It's just, I feel as if we're talking about it from one perspective that completely kind of like just like
I
take away the
get
other
your
stuff.
point, and I want to speak to that fulfillment. And it's all about self-care and really what you feel makes you successful. I've got my therapist hat on now because I'm a therapist too. You have got to make that decision for yourself. Nobody else can really make that for you. I mean, if you believe that you want to have some balance in your life, then that's what you got to do. And if that means spending more time with the family and less time at the office and taking a job that gives you that flexibility, that makes you happy in your space, then that's what you have to do. So yes, some people want to be the Jay-Z, but some people just want to be a mom and stay home, you know, work part-time and be happy in their family.
Well, to that point, all I really would say is at the same time that we're telling people to aspire, we should also be telling people that what it is that they've accomplished may within itself be what it is that they want to accomplish.
Yes.
But we keep saying it almost like whatever they've done is not enough and that they got to keep going. And that's not for everyone.
So I'm a chime in because this in the human resource management cycle, because I teach this as well, right? Is promote, fire, or what we call thrive. So keeping someone where they at, because this is, really where they excel. I'm a pragmatic person. I'm looking at society. At the end of the day, if you're not moving forward, you're moving backward. Do you understand what I'm saying? The job that you have now that you like may not be here a year from now, right? So it won't be. So that's why I said everything we're saying has truths in them, right? We're not actually contradicting each other. We're saying the same thing, but we're recognizing that depending on where you are. But ultimately, what I walk away from my esteemed colleagues here, and plus Carlos, is right. Next week his name is Juan, right?
Wait, am I not an esteemed colleague? Like, what are we doing here?
No, but I think what we're saying.
No, you trying to please speed past that.
Man, you own this. Come on, man. You're an owner. You know what I mean? Right? That's Carlos Z. Anyway, well, I think what I'm grounding this in, right, is one, definitely know your worth. Two, we didn't say this, but I feel like this is implied and I'm comfortable saying it. Stop negotiating against yourself. right? That's part of the first negotiation. Now you have because I used to also be a college professor.
What else have you had?
I've had a lot,
Okay, Tommy.
Right.
Yeah, I've had a lot. So the first thing, stop negotiating against yourself, which I think James would agree with. First, understand who you are, what value you have, how you value yourself, which is what now I'm piggybacking to you, and go into that room owning that, which means now, because I see myself differently, I act differently, I speak differently, which is I think you're completely comfortable with. I can go into the room and no, right? I have dual MBAs in finance and investments. I've had securities license. I know what I'm worth. What I think Jim and I line is, if this is your last stop, then this is not the place for me, and I move on. And my worth can come in various of ways. I need 5 weeks vacation. I need 2 days remote.
Absolutely.
But I think where I'm trying to connect it, James, like, well, then find a place that does that. But going back to what you were saying in terms of, we use very expiring figures. Ultimately, folks, the world keeps rotating. And this is a philosophy I tell everyone. If you're not moving forward, you're going backwards.
Absolutely.
It just is what it is. So what we're trying to have here is the conversation is how do you position yourself? How, as a person of color now, do I not negotiate against myself? Do I go into a room with people that may not look like me and feel confident to know, okay, where am I? I'm an AI engineer prompter. This may be the place where now I can ask for a little bit more money.
Can I say something real quick? Because I do want to address what you said, and I certainly appreciate and value what you said. You talked about, some people are looking for success and aspiring very high, and other people are looking for fulfillment. So my question is, why can't you have both? And I feel once you get to a certain level, people who are that successful, they feel very fulfilled. Additionally, I have one important data point that I need to share. There are more CEOs that are white males with the name of David than there are women CEOs. Did you hear that? There are more with the name David. So just that there are more male CEOs with the name David than there are women CEOs. The point there is that unfortunately, underrepresented individuals, particularly Black people, we are at the highest. We are at the highest rate of every lowest indicator. That comes from education, it comes from health, and what is the biggest driver of that? It is wealth. So once you get to a certain point of life, especially when it comes down to resources, you have more flexibility, more outcomes, and you have higher health, you have higher education outcomes, and your children have better opportunities. I think it's cool just being fulfilled and where you are, but I, for one, believe that certain communities, we have more to accomplish, and there is more to accomplish out there, and you can have both. And I'm gonna tell you, I don't feel the least bit of unfulfilled. I enjoy my success, and at the same time, I do need to create those footprints for other kids growing up, for other children. I'm not going to tell them to just, be happy where you are, because if we're just talking about just neurologically speaking, your brain, when it stops learning, when you stop doing, when you stop accomplishing more skills, you're more likely to get dementia. You have to, somebody know what I'm talking about. You have to continue to develop, to upskill. So becoming more successful, which is typically associated with expanding your skills, it helps you out, not just health-wise, not just wealth-wise, but also just fulfillment-wise. And not everybody needs that. I will say that. And I will say one more thing. When you negotiate, just back to the negotiating, you can sometimes raise the ties for everyone. I remember this one particular event. Someone asked me what my speaker fee was. I gave them my speaker fee. They said, well, we typically don't pay that much, but because we got to pay everybody, we want to be equitable. But what we'll do is we'll just give everybody more. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. So at the end of the day, you know, me requesting more, all of those speakers got double what they were supposed to get. I'll stop there.
A couple things. I think that
Here we go.
here we go.
I'm with you, James. I'm with you.
So I am not a believer in this idea that you can have everything,
Zero sum, as they say in finance.
right?
Who?
I don't believe in that.
Who said that?
I don't believe that you can have
I
everything.
want it all.
I think I can want. I think I can want it all, but I don't think I can have it all at the same time. Something will break because there's still only 24 hours in a day. So to me, I think you have to redefine what success is. Okay? So you said about indicator. I read that the biggest indicator of someone's future success is the zip code of which they are born in.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay? So you can, all the other stuff, you're
I just got real sad.
yeah.
I was born in the hood.
But you think, right? But that's
Lord.
what makes, for your guys' stories, that's what makes your stories so, ADP here, this extraordinary, is that you guys were able to accomplish something that your zip code said you were not supposed to. So I think that we can study what that is, what those mindsets were that allowed you to break that statistical inference, might be using the wrong word there, but to be able to say what's there. Okay, so I just want to make sure that's the first point. Second point. Sometimes there's a tendency, I have a tendency, to give you advice based off of my unique experiences. Okay? But you're, like you said, there's just one James, right? I'm from the San Francisco Bay Area, had a high zip code. I have one father, obviously, but I have a lot of strong black male influences in my life, okay? My parents are pretty well off, okay? I'm not saying that to brag. I am saying that because I've had those experiences, I can't turn around and say, oh, go do a study abroad in Mexico and learn the two languages, because you might not be able to do that, right? So I want to be able to speak to you for where you are, not necessarily where I have been, because you're not going to be able to be in that same space, okay? I am not. There are some positions where, yes, you can negotiate. Absolutely. I'm not knocking that, okay? But I am here to also give you a brutal truth. Most of the time, you cannot. And when you think you're negotiating, you really aren't. Because there's someone like me that's designed the job, that has said there is a range of which we will allow someone to work underneath. But you can't break the system. No one can break the system. Kanye can't break the system, it broke him. Drake tried to break the system, it broke him. Michael Jackson, all of us. All these people try to break systems that you can't do. They are going to come after you in a way that will make sure that they stay in power. So I don't know if me giving you advice to say, oh, you'll be able to do these things, I just don't think that you'll be able to. But what I do think that I can do is I do think I can give you practical, pragmatic advice that will be able to apply, that you could be able to go out into the world and find fulfillment, right? To be able to find financial peace, to be able to pay your bills, like just having a $500, like you know this, like we all know this, right? Most people don't have $500 in savings, right? Most people make, I think the number is like $54,000 a year. And that's a lot. That's a lot for some people, right? I'm not going to give you the advice that I would give someone that's a multimillionaire. That's totally different. I want to make sure that you get what's necessary so that you can lay down, if you're a black man, that you can have mental peace when you lay your head down on the pillow. If you're a black woman, that you can be able to do the same thing in areas that I can't fully speak of, but I do know that that's there. To make sure you guys have that mental peace. And if I'm able to give that advice to you, I'm happy to answer questions that you guys might have in the audience, so that I may be able to answer them. But I want to make sure it's grounded in that. If you want to hear more about my background experience, happy to do it. But you're not going to be able to replicate it. I can't replicate it to my kids. because they have a different background, different DNA structure, different experiences than I had. I can just give you frameworks. Last thing, and then I'll be done. I used to think that being a Black father meant that I was supposed to protect. I was supposed to protect my son and my daughter from the evils of the world. And so I used to find ways to think of how I could protect them. And my son came up to me and said, Daddy, are there monsters in my closet? And I said, of course not, there are no monsters in your closet. But then I thought about it. There are monsters. There's a monster of self-doubt. There's a monster of you feeling that you can't move, you can't breathe, you can't move forward, you can't be better. Tomorrow can't be better than today is. Those are actual monsters that I can't actually protect my son from, and I can't protect you from. But what I can do is I can prepare. I can prepare my son for when those monsters actually come. So when unemployment hits you, when someone like me comes in and takes your job away, that you are prepared for what's next, what you can do next to move forward. And that's what I think fatherhood is to me now, is preparing my son for that actual monster so that he can fight it on his own and win. And I want to give you guys the tools and the tips, and I think these forums are here to give you guys the tools and tips to prepare you for the monsters that are coming for you.
Well, that was morbid. So I do need to push back. I know I sound like the eternal optimist up here, but I, as a mother, maybe it's my role, is to tell my kids, particularly my daughters, that they can have it all, that you can have everything. But you need to be very specific about what all and what everything actually means. Because I am going to tell you, when I put my head down at night, I have an amazing husband. I have the best husband in the world. I love my children. I feel like I got it all. Baby, you feel like you got it all?
Like he can say no right now. He been recording. He been recording.
And it doesn't mean that you have all the money in the world. It doesn't mean that you have the highest paying job, although that does help. I will tell you, it is a whole lot, funner to cry in a Porsche than it is to cry in a, I don't know, with a bus pass, right? Right. So don't let people make you to believe that, not having things and, taking on this humble approach to life is, it's just acceptable. Just figure out what it is that you want. Go after that. My dad told me something a long time I will never forget. He said, anything that one man can do, you can do it as well. You might have to figure out how you gonna get there. But if you care about it, you can. And you don't have to be locked into a day job that's gonna require you to work at 9 o'clock until 9 p.m. at night, or to be better than the next. If that is what floats your boat and that's what's gonna give you your all, your everything, then do that. But if it is not, the world is such a big, beautiful place. There's so many other opportunities where you can negotiate. And that's the type of opportunity that I want. But decide what all means and go after that all. Figure it out. All doesn't mean you have all the money in the world. It doesn't mean you have all of these things, but you need to figure out your all and drive to that. And you need to make sure that you tell your kids that they can have it all too, because they're going to be the ones who accept what anybody gives them. I tell all my kids, you need to discriminate. Discriminate your jobs, discriminate the type of opportunities you want, the type of friends that you have, your partners. Everything doesn't need to just be given to you. That is the world that is driving you. Black people are the highest when it comes down to locus of control. Locus of control is a specific concept that talks about the world happening to me. You need to happen to the world. You need to be the one that is driving that force. You need to be behind it. You don't need to just accept what the world offers. If you understand locus of control, you understand that you are way more responsible for what the outcomes that you have in life than you are for them outcomes that come into you. So zip code is one thing, but I will tell you, we don't even need to study it because education is and always will be the greatest risk to poverty. Always will be. So that's where you started. That is not where you have to finish.
Okay, so I'm gonna chime in here before we open it up because I think it's time for Q&A.
Well, I'm seeing. I don't know if people want to ask, though. I was trying to see
No,
if people going to ask
but
questions.
I did want to just elaborate because the teacher in me is coming out. So locus of control, because I used to teach this to college students. External locus of control, internal locus of control, right? External means, if I give you an example, if you took a test and you got a 50, was the test too hard? Right, that's external. You're blaming the tests. Internal, I didn't study enough.
Yeah.
So so the high achievers are the ones that have a greater level of internal locus of control, where they feel they can impact, they have control of the situation. I want to ask one question for everyone at rapid fire, and then we'll open it up. So, in the context of now, right, with society changing, and we have Dr. Grant, who's been in leadership for 30 years. We have Dr. Mel, who's a statistician, right?
Just me.
No.
It's just me too, James.
We got
Just me and
brother. So I'm gonna give you. We got brother James. What does it mean to be a professional? Let's define that. What does it actually mean to be a professional? Because Dr. Grant says something that kind of perked my ears with the eyelashes, and I said, well, that shouldn't matter, right? So what does professional actually mean? And then, if any of you have any questions, I want to hear from you. So, Los, we can't answer. We'll leave it to our guest, right? And let the rap battle begin. Let's go.
Well, really just bring your authentic self, okay? To me, that's what it means. Just being who you are. And yeah, you have to navigate those landmines that are out there, but please just be who you are. Start from that place and, see where it goes.
I say definitely showing up and, like you said, understanding the culture. Being professional means looking the part. Matter of fact, looking a little bit better than the part. Because when people don't know enough about you, they will go with whatever they perceive. And we use prejudice as shortcuts. Everyone is prejudiced.
Yes.
We have that information. So do not allow them to perceive something that is not who you truly are at the end of the day. Because nobody is paying you to be yourself. They are paying you to be.
Say that one more again.
Ain't nobody paying you to be yourself. Nobody. You are there for a job to fulfill a specific duty, and you need to look professional, look the part while doing it. And a lot of people say, oh, well, I can't afford this, or I might not have that much money. But let me tell you, the best clothes that I buy are from consignment shops. When I walked in there and I wore St. John, I got it from the peddlers. On a 50% off sale. So I got it for $13. It was cheaper than what I would have got it at Target. So figure it out. There are other ways. There's so many ways to figure it out. And if you don't know everything, fake it until you make it. And if you build those relationships, people will invest the training, the resources. They will get you mentors. I've been on jobs before where they said, you know what? You got the soft skills that we need. You don't have the technical ones. We can train technical, but soft skills are way more difficult to develop. Professional is also understanding relationship. Time has passed where you could just come in and just do your job. You have to build relationships, especially if you don't have those technical skills. You need to be able to speak in a way that everybody understands you. You need to listen first, talk second. Listen first. God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth for that reason. Listen, assess yourself, and ask the people who are around you.
Point on dress. I was always told to dress up to the next level.
Absolutely.
That you are aspiring to.
100%.
Okay.
100%. And you can find places that sells those type of clothes. People will perceive whatever you give them. People will believe what you give them.
Again, always coming after her is very hard. So I think the only thing that I'll uniquely say is play the politics game, like why we're here, right? For being professional means you play that politics game. The other thing is you also have to remember, I was talking about where you are matters, right? So there are some jobs where if you come in dressed higher than everybody else, you are not playing the game, right? There are roles, there are industries, there are jobs, like especially in tech, where they are wearing Hawaiian button-down shirts. So if you walk into the room dressed like you are a banker because you heard us say dress for the part that you want and be CEO, you will not be reading the room. You will not be a professional, because it's not that you're assimilating, it's that, what are you doing wearing this? Like, why are you wearing this? No one else is dressed like this. If you work in construction, right, you better have steel-toe boots on, right? And you're not gonna wear your Armani suits or your Tom Ford suits with those boots on and knowing that you're going to go into a manufacturing place.
That's a good point.
So it's really important that when you hear our advice, to hear it, yes, but also apply it not to our world, but apply it to your own world.
That's true.
So that you are able to play the game that you not playing my game, that you're playing your own game, which is what is important that I want you guys to remember from this conversation is being professional is playing the game. That's harsh, that's cruel, that's mean. But you, to Mel's point, you are that author. You are the LeBron James of your own story. Fair?
Ooh, I like that.
Let's open it up for any questions. Anyone has any questions they would like to ask?
Q&A. You got a hand back there.
So can we get her? Can we get her the mic?
Yep. Thank you much. If your question is directed specifically to someone, you can do that, or if it's just an overall question.
This is a broad question, so you all made a lot of good points in the workplace, but I didn't really hear about the mental health aspect of what we have to go through, especially when we are burning out because we're not paid what we are worth. So I have built that skill set, gotten more skills to do my job. I have played the game. I had tried to leverage to get paid more from what I'm worth. And I know that I'm not replaceable, because if they do tend to replace me, they're going to need 4 people to do my job.
That part.
So how do you navigate in a workplace where you can't even go to the management because they are a part of the problem?
The mental side of that, mental health.
Mental health is, go ahead.
Yes, mental health and overall, because like y'all say, there's HR there, but HR is not even there to help you out neither, because they're always going to side with the management.
Can I answer a question? And then that way you can bring... To answer, before I answer that, why do you want to stay there?
Yeah,
I'm not going to stay there, but I'm currently staying right there right now because I am moving back home to
Got you.
California.
You took it.
I'm part of San Diego, California.
All right.
That's what's up.
But I know my worth, but I know that when I leave, there's going to be a great impact, because I probably am one of the few people that have built relationships with all programs in that company.
Yeah. First of all, 619 bottom line, Dago. I appreciate you going back to San Diego. Your mental health is important. And I know that there's a lot of people, there's a lot of talk about it right now in corporate America and about being there. I don't want to be, you're morbid. I'm not trying to be morbid, but don't go to your job thinking that it's going to give you mental clarity. It's not there. It's not designed. We don't design jobs in a way to make it such that you can get your kids to school on time, to be there when your kids are out. Because if you did, you wouldn't be, school's out at 3:00 and the workday ends at 5, right? So it's just not designed for that. What you do have to do is find other organizations, fraternities, sororities, church, other things to supplement around your life to be able to give you that outlet so that you can exhale. Does that make sense? But you're not going to find it in your job.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is too, in addition to a women's group, of course, there's nothing wrong with getting a executive coach or a therapist. You can get therapists now online. You don't have to be in a room with them. In other words, online, I mean telehealth.
So I'm
Okay?
gonna.
So think about that. It's a neutral party that can give you the feedback that you're seeking and to help you with that mental clarity.
I want to emphasize
Let's get rid
that.
of the stigma. We all are works in progress, okay? We are still developing ourselves every day, no matter how old you are or how many degrees you have. We are all works in progress. So don't be ashamed to ask for help.
All right, great. I want to piggyback. I 100% agree in terms of getting a therapist. Not for. So right now this is a weird time because therapy is a big buzzword, but I do believe in being able to talk out what you're experiencing and feeling, because putting words to it can help create action. Is this making sense? So rather than holding it in, this is what I experienced. Someone can actually help you categorize. Well, I'm not speaking to you like I'm giving you advice. I'm talking to the general, by the way. Number two, I agree with you. The job wasn't, unless you created the job is not meant to take in your mental health into account. And unless you're at a place where we start getting into six figures, where it costs them, by the way, if you don't know, I think it costs 1.5 times your salary to replace you. So if you make 200,000 or 100,000, it costs the company 150,000 to recruit for your position. So till you get to a point where you're not replaceable. But for me, I can't give you advice. I can tell you what I do for myself and what I constantly keep thinking about. And I have conversations with every day. I'm always looking for something different. I am, outside of a relationship, I'm not faithful to anybody. No, seriously. Because if you were faithful to me, you'll take care of me. But you're not here to take care of me, right? So for me, it's, if the employer is part of the problem for anyone, I got to look for someplace else. And I just got to know that I might become a nomad, which means I'm constantly moving. And I started off by saying, pre-pandemic, being at a job for 10 years, 15 years was a badge of honor. It actually was a good thing from recruiters. Now it's bad. Why are you here so long? So to me, it's the signs of the time are we are under tremendous mental duress as people of color in the BIPOC, which is beyond just Black. Right, there's a huge emotional burden because, like James says, you have to hide a part of you. Right, the code switching, I want to dress how I want to dress. I want to be a present father and mom, but I think to what you're saying, the world is cold is not designed for that per se. So to me, it's get a therapist or get a coach or a mentor that can help you talk through it, strategize, and be in the business of me. And the business of me, part of what we call our core values, now you're going to get me to my business talk, is balance.
You said relationships, the only thing you're faithful to. What about friendships?
That's a relationship.
Because you're my friend. Is it a relationship? I just want to make sure
no,
you're
it
faithful
is.
to this friendship.
Yeah, you here still, aren't you?
Let's making sure you're not throwing me under the bus. I'm like, wait a minute. You ain't faithful?
Please, we got a mic back
We got
there.
one in the back. Great question, too. Great question.
Thank you, by the way, for asking the question. I
thank you.
really want to acknowledge that. And we're not giving you advice. We're talking to the general.
Yeah, well, great
right? I hate when people do that. You ask a question, next thing you know, everyone's looking at you like we're doing right now. Go ahead, please.
I just wanted to piggyback off what she said. I had an incident at work, and my manager was like, well, she is really, really harsh. And so I was like the lead. And so people were coming to me with situations, and then I would present it to her. And she didn't like that. She had a favorite, and I brought it up to her. So it was almost like I was painted out to be the bad guy. And so I did start searching for new jobs, but I also went to human resources, and then I started documenting every time this happened and every time that happened, and when I went to talk to her and what was done and what she said. And so they, like she said, they kept telling me, well, we're going to investigate. But they really, I felt like behind the scenes, they did say something to her, because it just changed the shift of now she's like, she's like, good morning. So I feel like, I guess I made the noise until I found something different. And she knew that I was just not going to sit back and go for what she kept dishing out. And so that was
that's very smart. That's one of the things I had written down, which is keep receipts.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Just make sure make sure that your receipts are there. A lot of times, it's actually the blame is louder than your success, right? So the only way to make your successes louder than if someone wants to blame you is to have receipts. And so one of the rules that we have is you make sure that you are telling everybody all the things that you've done, all the things you've accomplished, and even if they don't value it or care, you have it written down. So when you go to your next job, you could say, hey, here's every A, B, C, and then what did you say? A, B, C, and the third.
And the third.
Right? So that you have it and that you always know that you can come back to it. Okay. So keeping receipts is one of those important things that I think are, can apply. And I appreciate you bringing that up because I think that's important.
I just want to say this real quick on the receipts, because in workplace development, I teach this in workforce. Some of the receipts are not just your handwritten email. If I'm sitting in front of you and I'm having a conversation with another grown adult who's my supervisor, can you do bop, bop, bop? Yes, I sure can. I'm going to send an email about 2 hours later, just to be sure.
Yeah.
You wanted me to do
Does it to me
this,
all the time. Just to be
this,
clear, Rod.
and this, right? Just to be clear. And they can say yes or no, time, date, stamp. That as well as a text message. Those things, I was a trooper for 5 years, that will hold up in the court of law. So by receipts, you record it, but also by receipts, email, text messages, to and from whoever you're communicating with, and keep those.
So I'm a bit twisted in this regard, right? Because the reality of it is HR is not there to help you. They're there for the organization, right? So let's be clear here. If you're in a bad workplace, you're just in a bad workplace, right? And it's hard to change the culture as one person if you're not someone that has real authority and decision-making power. What I love about the receipts are, though, and I learned this, is if the receipts fall into some level of legal issues, harassment, mistreatment, there's a third-party organization you can go to for now what we call financial reward. Do you get what I'm saying? So I'm going to take you to the business world. So again, keep your receipts. Don't expect for your supervisor to ever be nice to you as long as they have that role, right? And understand, because Dr. Mel said this, because that supervisor's been there so long, she has created value for herself with the owners. They're not going to want to replace her. She's an investment. So your job now is find something new, keep your receipts, and if it gets to a point where things are violated, go get your money.
So
Because the state will go get that money for you.
yeah, I reached out to an organization and was waiting on because it was like months and waiting on appointment, phone interview that I'm going to be having, and I'm gonna pass the mic. But it was funny because I got a new supervisor, not the manager, but a supervisor, and so the supervisor says, "Oh, I like you." She said they said you were tough and you were going to give me a hard time. So it was
Document that.
I did. So now
So you and I are about to be paid.
yeah, because
Best
she's
friend.
putting like something out about me, and she's like, "Oh, I like you." So, but you're saying this, and it's not really being tough, but I'm just standing up for what is right and what's fair.
Even the we can have we got to do a special Zoom, because even the standing up, it's a game within how you protest and speak up for yourself. But anyone else have questions? Because we do want to respect everyone's time.
Yeah. Good. Somebody gonna leave like I should have asked that question. I know you are.
So, Los, this is a good time to share to give our thanks to our audience.
For sure.
Any parting words you want to share with anyone? Any bits of wisdom for how, when you find yourself at work and you find yourself in situations like we're asked, where I can't be, as Dave Chappelle, keeping it real, be my authentic self. I don't know who to trust, who to talk to. Like any piece of advice we can give. Starting with, let's go from James, Brother James, and work our way down and get better looking as we go to the right. Let's go.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
The world is fundamentally changing in front of us in real time, right? Jobs are being automated, AI is coming, guys, ChatGPT, all these things, right? So the thing I will say is, remember where you are. Don't be afraid to move your job. Don't be afraid to move to different parts of the country. Don't be afraid to change industries. But if you are going to stay, always remember that there's a 9 to 5 and then there's a 5 to 9.
That's good. James.
And I would also say that we talk a lot about jobs, but we don't talk enough about becoming entrepreneurs. And that comes in so many different ways. There's jobs that Chat GPT, AI, and super AI, which, it's a whole nother conversation, can't take over. Building houses, investing in property, diversify your income. One way to address mental health issues is figure out ways that you can bring in multiple streams of income. That way, a lot of the mental health comes from, if I leave this job, I have nothing else. Make it so that if you leave that job, you have other things that are coming in until you get something else. But create your own opportunity. No one has ever gotten rich, and this is not a conversation about getting rich, by fulfilling somebody else's vision.
I agree with everything that's been said so far, but always, so basically have your B plan. Yes, I left that job, but I have always had a second side gig.
Okay.
Being a therapist and also a executive coach and management consultant. And in fact, is anybody's birthday today by any chance?
Oh.
Or anybody's birthday this
Close.
week?
We're in August?
What if I say it is my birthday?
month of August.
Not for you.
Any
I
August?
have a book to give away to anybody that's birthday is closest to today that I've written.
Mine in December.
I was July 29th.
August 25th?
Okay,
I think
you
that
got
might be it.
You got it, my girl.
Uh-huh.
And I do have some, I'll pass around some book things, but really, make sure you have a B plan. Entrepreneurial, like Dr. Mel said, do something so you will never, ever not have a paycheck or money coming in. Amen.
And I'll say this, I think you guys said it. The entrepreneurial thing can be on the side. Some people think, I don't want to be a full-time entrepreneur. You don't have to be. Find something that you do on the side that you're very well at. I'm a consultant in the classroom. I'm a certified personal trainer. I do that on the side as well. So you can have other things. I'll say this in my ending thing, and Rod, you let me know where we want to go. You got to develop yourself. You will know in the next 5 years where you're going to end up based on the books you read, the conferences you attend, the mentors you have. In your next 5 years, where you end up is going to be based on the books you read, the conferences you attend, the mentors you have. And the conference can be on YouTube University. If you develop yourself to a point, you will force yourself into another space. And to your point, bro, and I love what you said, Pope, most people don't ask themselves the question, what do I want to do? Most people don't ask that. They're just chasing something. And I promise you, 9 times out of 10, you get there, you may find out it's not what you actually wanted. Ask yourself, what do I want to do? And then go after what you want to do. And I believe what you said, Mel, you go after what you want to do. You can have both. You can't tell me you can't, because I got both.
Thank you.
Coach Ryan?
It's like me and James are brothers, right? We're going to change the show. It's going to be me and you now, James, okay? No, but again, supporting everything that was said from a economical perspective, I'm going to take it outside now, workplace politics, because I've been inspired by what I heard here. The average income, you said, is about $50,000. Folks, at the end of the day, there's a game. There's multiple games that we got to play. At the end of the day, you don't want the game to play you. The consequences are serious. Yeah, we're up here talking, but the consequences are serious. They will get to a point where you age out and your options are extremely limited, right? There's going to come to a point where the decisions you didn't make today, 20 years from now, you're going to see, hey, I wish I had made that decision. I'm going to really promote, figure out how to get other income. Figure out how, you have to. You have to. The price of everything is only going to get higher, right? I used to go to UB here, and when I used to go to UB, and this is when I was ignorant, gas was 99 cents. And
What was that? I mean, you're going
it's I look really good, but I got some age on me. Right? But but gas used to be 99 cents. And it took me about 10 years to realize gas is never going to go back to 99 cents. Right? A bag of chips used to be 25 cents. Growing up, $1 was all I needed to have a full course,
Dollar
meal.
candy?
Right?
It was actually penny candy.
Right?
Look, man.
Gum, folks, used to be 25 cents. Now it's $1.25. So at the end of the day, as we have this conversation, hopefully you walk away with different mindset, different perspective, different tools, some clarity. But the game Not just at your job. There's a bigger game here being played. God designed it this way. That's just inevitable, right? So I'm encouraging all of you, because we talked about passive income. I talked about upskilling. We talked about understanding, hey, if you're at this job, the reality of it is you got to start looking at yourself differently and say, I got to be in this for me, right? And to get what I need to get, what do I got to do to get what I need? And I keep it pushing, and I keep it moving, and culturally challenge how we were raised with the humility. At some point, there has to be a level of entitlement you take on if you're going to kind of advance. Question this whole concept. This is how I grew up, and I got a few of my family members here. I grew up Haitian. Like, I'm gonna work hard until you recognize it. Yeah, nah. Squeaky wheel gets the grease. Document, promote, share. I mean, I can go on and on about this. But with that being said,
Yeah, so thank you, Dr. Grant. Thank you all, and thank you all. Can we put our hands together? Appreciate you all for attending here. Been a great show. I do have a few books myself that'll be up here. 4 books. I've written 4 books, y'all. So praise God to that. I got a couple of books here for the information. If you want information from any of our panelists, we'll be here as well. If you want to follow them, like them, subscribe, follow some of their stuff. Like, subscribe to Black Dad Unfiltered. We're on YouTube. We're on any listening podcast platform. So my name is Carlos B. Spencer. Black Dad Unfiltered. I'm here with my guy,
Coach Rod, once again changing the narratives on Black Dads through authentic conversation. Follow us on all social media and streaming platforms at Black Dad Unfiltered. Let's go. Let's grow.
Let's get it.
it.
God bless.
Thank
Y'all
you,
be
folks.
blessed. Thank y'all.
Let's go, let's grow.